I want to ask this community that you keep track of my every time, whatever I spend on weekend. If I spend on entertainment, you have such a problem. All the Maulvis, all the scholars of this community. What about KK? What does she do? This week also I have seen she only went to work on Monday. She did not go to work on any other day. What does she do all day? What does she do all day at home except for torturing her mother and other women? What does she do all day? Why don't you keep track of her time? Why don't you keep track of what she is doing? What she is doing? Is she volunteering in the community? Is she volunteering in the masjid? What is she doing? She is only doing housework. Housework, everyone knows that housework in America is not so much. Okay, you can easily do all the complete housework in the 2 days. So what does she do all day? What does she do all day? Why doesn't she go to work? She is not married. She is not getting married. She doesn't have kids. What does she do all day? Why you are so worried? You are always making a point about how I spend my weekend. Why is she allowed? Why don't the same rules apply to her? What does she do? Where does she waste her time? Why don't you keep track of her time? If wasting time is a sin for me, why isn't this a sin for her? What does she do? What does she do? Why doesn't anyone check on her? Why doesn't anyone check on her? What does she do all day? What does she do all day? Except for creating problems for her mother. Her mother is at home. Her mother is very capable of doing housework and she does most of the housework. What does KK do? She does tell to her mother that you didn't do it right, I will do it right. Is that a constructive use of her time? Answer me. Is that a constructive use of anyone's time? Is that constructive use of anyone's time? Is that how a Shia is supposed to live? Is that how a Shia is supposed to live? What does she do all day? What does she do all day? What has she done in her life? What has she done in her life? She has only done associate degree. After that, she has not worked anywhere for even full time. Since 2005, she has been living a life of leisure. Since 2005, how many years? These are 18 years. 18 years she has been living a life of leisure. What has she accomplished in her life? What has she done? What has she done in her life? What has she done in her life? What has she done in her life? I have been working continuously. Since 2005, I have been working constantly, full time. Full time I have been working constantly. I also volunteered in masjid. I also volunteered. I also had a marriage. I took care of my home. What has she done? What has she done in the past 20 years? What has she done? Is there anyone who can ask her? Is there anyone? Is there any accountability for her? Is there any accountability for her? Or is it only for